He's alert. He's got good reflexes. He's fast.
You think he's hurting it?
Well, he's hurting it outside the ring, yes. Yes, he is. He has said many things that the public has not liked. He has aggravated the public. And it's too bad, because he could have been probably one of the most popular of all heavyweight champions if he had only been, say, as Joe Louis, had Joe Louis's attitude.
I've heard and I've read several different testimonials when it comes to the so-called friendship between Ali and Rocky Marciano, okay? Now, I've also seen what's on YouTube, the different videos. I've seen Rocky Marciano as a fat, balding, retired fighter. I've seen him giving his assessment of Ali, and he gives him credit for being skilled, okay? And then he goes on to say that he's bad for boxing. In fact, Marciano wanted Ali to be more like Joe Louis. He said it. From what I heard, they didn't have much of a relationship before the time they met for their little computerized match in 1969, I believe it was. It was during the time where Ali was kicked out of boxing. He needed some money, so they paid him $10,000, and they paid Marciano $10,000 for them to have some computerized match. Both of them came to the ring, and they shot angles and different scenarios, and they said that at times the acting, it got a little bit serious. They said that both of them let loose with some real punches. I heard at certain times, I heard that Ali knocked off Marciano's toupee a couple of times, because at this time Marciano was in his mid-40s and way out of shape. I heard he was serious about it. He actually lost weight and got in a little better shape just to do this little video footage with Ali. And Ali was actually out of shape because he was going through that time period where they had kicked him out of boxing and he needed money. So they put on this little match. And I noticed one thing. I noticed that Marciano never would refer to him as Ali. He always called him Clay. Always. Like, even right before they did the little exhibition thing or whatever it was, he was still calling him Clay.
If you want to see one of the greatest fight classics of all time, then watch me, Muhammad Ali, who will be fighting Rocky Marciano on the computerized heavyweight championship of the world.
Hi, if you ever want to see a great fight, a real ring classic, watch me, Rocky Marciano, fight a computerized fight with Cassius Clay.
Look, there's a video of Angelo Dundee saying that Marciano didn't like Ali, okay? There's also a video on YouTube of Ali saying that he was friends with Marciano.
And by the way, Marciano didn't like my guy because he talked.
But from what I read somewhere else, I read that they became closer after they had this exhibition, that their friendship didn't even start until then. So if that's true, Marciano died about a year later. So they were only friends for about a year. But did Ali ever get this straight with this Clay stuff? That's what I'm wondering, because he really went in hard on Floyd Patterson and Ernie Terrell, okay?
And after the fight, Terrell, you will know you was in a scuffle because you cannot master the double clutch shuffle.
I'd like to say something right here. You know, Cassius Clay, yes.
Why do you want to say Cassius Clay when Howard Cosell and everybody is calling you Muhammad Ali? Now, why you got to be the one of all people whose color to keep saying Cassius Clay?
Howard Cosell is not the one who's going to fight you. I am.
You making it really hard on yourself now.
Well,
why don't you keep the thing in the sport angle? Why don't you call me my name, man?
Well, what's your name? You told me your name was Cassius Clay a few years ago.
I never told you my name was Cassius Clay. My name is Muhammad Ali, and you will announce it right there in the center of that ring after the fight if you don't do it now.
For the benefit of this broadcast, him, all right?
You just acting just like an old Uncle Tom. Another Floyd Patterson. I'm going to punish you.
Let me tell you something, man. You ain't got no
back off of me.
Don't call me no Uncle Tom.
That's what you are, Uncle Tom.
Why are you going to call me Uncle Tom? I ain't do nothing.
You heard me. Just back off of me.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, as the two contestants prepare for battle right now.
Back off of me, man. Back off of me, man.
Another interview has been recorded for...
There's a video on here where he actually admits to Howard Cosell that he carried Floyd Patterson just to punish him. The whole breakdown is on YouTube. At the beginning of the interview, Howard Cosell keeps alluding to, did Ali. He keeps asking him, like, why didn't you just go ahead and knock him out here? And at first, Ali seems like he's trying to, say, nah, I wasn't carrying the fight, because Howard Cosell kind of accused him of it, and he was like, look, man, I was tired. Floyd Patterson, he's just a tough guy and this and that. But at one point in the video, he finally admits that he is carrying him, okay? So Patterson had to pay for it in the ring for calling this man Clay and all of that stuff, okay? And he went real hard on Ernie Terrell. Real hard on him. In and out the ring.
Muhammad, I want you to take a good look at this round 6 as we begin to play it. And I want you to tell us why you didn't knock Patterson out then, even as you described the action, Muhammad.
Now I'm still jabbing him and right hands, hitting him with everything in the book, but he just wouldn't fall. And his courage kept him fighting. How we should have quit right there, but he just had so much false pride. He just feels that he owes everybody everything. Nobody owes him nothing. He owes everybody. So he felt that it was his obligation to go out and take it if necessary. Just for that pleasure, just hurt another man, just outright.
Well, aren't you
Just
telling
for
me
money.
in a kind of way that you carried the boy at this point?
Well, yes, I'll say yes. Boldly to you here on the nationwide TV.
Now, I heard that when Patterson fought Ali the second time in the 70s, in the early 70s, they fought again. I heard he was still calling Ali Clay. And Ali looked at him or something. From what I heard, it was a testimonial I read. I think it was a quote from Patterson or something. And Ali told Patterson, like, look, man, you're the only person that can still get away with calling me Clay. So we're up in the 70s, and Patterson was still calling Ali Clay. From what I heard, he was still calling him. I bet you I read it in a boxing magazine or something, but he was still calling Ali Clay by the 70s. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think as an old man, I'm going to have to look on YouTube. I like to say that I heard him talk about this as an old man too, maybe. Maybe that's where I picked it up. All right, anyways, man, back to my video. Ali not only said that he's Marciano's friend, a guy that he was only cool with for maybe a year tops. Not only that, but he used this guy who wouldn't even call him by his real name. He kept calling him Clay. He used this guy to downgrade Joe Frazier, man.
Really?
I truly think he was better than Joe Frazier. I did a computer fight with him when he was old man just pretending, and my arms are sore just from joking with him. If you want to see one of the greatest fight classics of all time, then watch me, Muhammad Ali, who will be fighting Rocky Marciano on the computerized heavyweight championship of the world.
Hi, if you ever want to see a great fight, a real ring classic, watch me, Rocky Marciano, fight a computerized fight with Cassius Clay.
I mean, we saw the disgusting stuff that he did with Joe Frazier, especially in that build up to the Manila fight, man. But this whole thing with this Rocky Marciano, I wonder if anyone has any information on it, let me know. But how close was Ali to Rocky Marciano? They could have only been friends for about a year. And if they was friends for the last year, Angelo Dundee said that Marciano didn't like Ali. I'm not really cool with or friends with people I don't like. I mean, I've heard about keeping your enemies close, but, I just think it's pointless, really, because they're from different eras. There was nothing really much to gain. I mean, they both gained $10,000 from having this little make-believe sparring match that they had. One that they had different endings to it, but they wanted to present the one with Ali losing because they knew that for people to pay for it, and they said it did pretty good at the box office, man. This, they had it in some theaters and all kind of. From what they said, it did pretty good, man. People came out, put their money to see this dream match, and they knew that the people wanted to see this loudmouth undefeated fighter, because you have to think at this time when Ali was on exile, he was still undefeated at that time. He still had never been beat. So they wanted to capture what the people wanted to really see, which was for Ali to lose, okay? You know, there was always those fighters that people didn't want to see win. And Ali was at the very top of that list, you know what I'm saying? You know, there had never been a fighter like that. I mean, there was some people who thought that Sugar Ray Robinson was very brash and wanted to see him lose. And, you know, you had the other guy, like the guy covered in the welterweight series, Bratton. They hated him from what I read. And I read several testimonials on how much they disliked this guy. You know what I'm saying? So when Ali came into the game, it was something totally different, okay? He took it to a whole new level because now he was out. Not only was he brash, but he was totally against the system. He fought against the whole machine. It wasn't none of this shit today about playing the bad character like WWE and all of that shit. No, this shit was real for him. He changed his name and he got behind people that were hated by America. Here you see Rocky Marciano even bringing this up.
In the beginning, Clay was good for the game. I mean, he brought a lot of new life into boxing. I remember people other than boxing fans were getting interested in this young loudmouth. And then he overdid it. He talked a little bit too much, a little bit too long, and he talked about the wrong things. And when he brought his religion into the picture, it sort of changed the whole entire setup of boxing. And for the last 2 years at least, two years, he's been sort of bad for boxing.
You know, he went in hard on Terrell. He went in hard on Patterson. Those guys had to pay in the ring, too. Besides, not only that, they had to face the verbal aggression from Ali, too. You know, whereas Marciano continued to call him Clay, and he never had nothing to say about Rocky Marciano. So I would really like to know what that's all about, and did they ever get that shit straight? Because I wasn't around during that time, you know. I know that there's people who come to my page who's older. You know, I was one guy on my page who's commenting on my page all the time. He's in his 60s, okay? So somebody who was around during that time who was a hardcore boxing fan, tell me, like, did he ever straighten that shit out with Marciano? Because he sure came in hard on Ernie Terrell and Floyd Patterson.
Take it easy, baby. Okay. Pull him away. I might get him now. I'm getting angry. He never should have started talking. Not with Muhammad Ali. Oh, no, Clay. You Clay? I said Muhammad Ali. Clay? You will call it when the fight comes on. Clay? Wait till the fight comes on. Please tell everybody to get to your theaters. I've never had a man that I wanted to whoop so bad.